Gavin Newsom was getting interviewed and had an interesting take on the danger of Trump versus the danger of people like DeSantis. And he even brought up Tucker Carlson. And something we've talked about before, where Trump is incredibly dangerous. Trump is, as we talk about all the time, against our democratic process and poses a huge threat to so many of these important parts of our country. But he's also stupid, right? He's also a fumbling, bumbling dummy. And so almost the evil intentions he may have can't be followed through because he's not able to logistically figure it out. As we saw in 2020, he wasn't able to keep himself in power, even though he tried. And that's why people who have a similar ideology, but are a little bit more competent, scare me a lot, like Ron DeSantis or Tucker Carlson, if Tucker Carlson were to get into politics. Gavin Newsom has a similar concern, as you'll see here.
I worry about Trump. Worry about Trumpism. I worry more about Tucker Carlson. I worry about Ron DeSantis. He's a bully. He threatened the Special Olympics and $27 million in fines. Who does that? You guys, Abbott is light years ahead in policy than DeSantis, but DeSantis weaponized it to the next level. So yeah, I worry about Trump because, Trump has proven that democracy is now partisan, which is remarkable.
So he fears DeSantis and Tucker Carlson more, possibly, than he even fears Trump. And so I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because I haven't actually heard that much from my audience where you see the two fall. Let's just take DeSantis and Trump for now. Who do you feel like, if they actually got in power, would be more dangerous? Because there's multiple different elements of this to think about. If you're just saying who would you rather run and get the nomination in the Republican Party, that's one question, because you could say, and this is one of the things I've expressed before, maybe it would be better if Trump was the nominee in 2024 because he's so politically damaged, and maybe the Democrat would have a better chance against him than if DeSantis was the nominee. I don't know, but that could be a consideration. But take that out of the equation for a second. Just who do you think would be a worse president in 2024? Now, I think it's a solid argument to say Trump is still the worst because you don't believe DeSantis would do the openly anti-democratic things that Trump did. And that's a fair argument, and that could definitely convince me. But you do see a situation where DeSantis is able to enact these similar policy goals or even similar ambitions outside of policy, but to a more effective degree, because I think he is a little bit more intelligent in a malicious way. He has malicious intelligence, we'll say. And because of that, as a president, maybe he would be able to do some of the bad things that the far right wants to see done in our country better. And the other scary part about it is because DeSantis is less of a caricature. Trump is so obviously bombastic and makes such a scene every time he speaks that there's some middle of the road people in our country who I think genuinely believe that Trump is bad just because of his vibe, just because he's so blatant and aggressive about the bad things he does. DeSantis comes off a little bit more like a normal politician in the way he speaks. And I think that could convince people who are center-right, who didn't like Trump, to go back to the Republican Party. Because they're like, oh, look, it's another statesman. Even though, of course, DeSantis is very dangerous as well. So, interesting stuff. Gavin Newsom is clearly trying to set himself next to Ron DeSantis in many of these conversations, because I think he understands if Trump doesn't end up running or is indicted and that stops him because he doesn't want to run while he's indicted, even though he could, whatever it is, then DeSantis is the guy. And if Gavin Newsom is trying to mount his own presidential run, that might be creating a rivalry before the primaries have even started so that people get in their heads, oh, 2024, Newsom, DeSantis. And that could help Gavin Newsom politically. And that may be what he's trying to do. We saw him run those ads in Florida attacking DeSantis. We saw him challenge DeSantis to a CNN debate. And now we're seeing him say he could be more dangerous or he's very scary, even compared to Donald Trump. Fascinating stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments.